Well, I often been asked, what do you think about the new normal of life? What the new normal look like and what are the implications for education? As you know, the rise of COVID-19 pandemic in March 2020 posed the most dangerous threat in the history of education. It has undoubtedly left a lasting impression on our future generation by changing the way we learn and live. As the pandemic swept across the country, devastating our economy, health, finances, travel, and employment, people from all walks of life in our society felt the devastating effects of COVID-19. It has heightened uncertainty in all aspects of our economy. Health, finances, travel, and employment. Education as a human activity system, a vital part of our societal system, and it's not immune to the pandemic. This global health crisis has given rise to a new normal. In the new normal, we in education field are unable to cater the needs of students unless we understand the systemic changes brought by the pandemic in all sectors in our society that have implication in education. In the new normal, we have to change our mindset and truly understand the paradigm shift. Therefore, we need to come up with strategies to confront uncertainty and continue to engage in innovative and meaningful learning and teaching in the new normal. To answer your question about how a new normal of life post-pandemic will look like, before I answer this, let's talk about the life during the pandemic. Let's imagine that you have been living in space since February 2020 and decided to come back to the Earth in March 2021. What would you see on Earth that you did not see before? You should probably be surprised to see people wearing masks, maintaining social distancing, working remotely, and getting vaccinated, ordering online, and you would probably say, so what? What happened? This is how COVID-19 changed the world. Even when the pandemic is over, we will be going back to living like before? I don't think so. The world has changed already. It is the new normal. Every system in our society, such as government, industry, healthcare, financial institution, educational institution, can no longer provide their services the way they used to do before COVID. Their services will change. Services will be flexible and more targeted towards people's need. With the blessing of technology, all of our societal systems are increasingly adopting technologies in their services. Actually, pandemic helped to increase the understanding of the technologies in the digital transformation and adopting in our daily activities. Therefore, in the post-pandemic world, technology will play the huge role. I believe increasingly digital transformation becomes the new normal in the post-pandemic world. In the new normal, we have to adjust ourselves to the new changes. However, some people may not fully adjust to the changes, which in turn would hurt them and they would be lagging behind. Therefore, we in the new normal of life would definitely be technology dependent, flexible way of living. Since I am in education field, I believe blended and hybrid learning would be suited for the new normal in education. Well, some also ask me a question, how has the pandemic impacted education field? Well, the pandemic prompted a paradigm shift in education, a magnitude to which neither policymakers nor government officials would have anticipated. As I indicated before, pandemic has changed how we work and learn. Consequently, we need a paradigm shift in education, meaning education may never be the same again. Many places in the world, education was not ready for the paradigm shift of magnitude of this prompted by the COVID-19. Education system were caught flat-footed and unprepared, a system that was never equipped with contingency plan in the event of a long-term lockdowns. Education globally struggled with lockdowns and a sudden transition to remote learning. In fact, in the United States, schools nationwide reported that online learning attendance and academic achievements have embarrassingly plummeted. Many students globally do not have the basic infrastructure at home to foster an effective remote learning environment. This includes access to 5G internet, up-to-date laptops with adequate processing power, or even a quiet learning space. The school system reported that online learning attendance and academic achievements have embarrassingly plummeted. Another major problem facing a student is remote learning is mental health. Many students reported experiencing stress or anxiety, disappointment or sadness, or felt lonely or isolated during this pandemic. In order to mitigate the consequences of the pandemic on our educational system, we need to act with urgency and focus. We know remote learning faces many challenges. We must identify, understand areas of challenges and address them appropriately in order to provide equitable education solutions for all students, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, ethnic background, socioeconomic status, or disability. We as citizens of the digital world should be problem solvers and innovators. We must find a better way to address this unmet challenge and need. Now is the time to innovate and address this education crisis. Effective remote learning and blended learning encompasses an array of factors beyond what teachers and students do behind the computer screen. With my research, I learned that the new norm with blended learning requires a comprehensive understanding of myriad of critical issues encompassing the 8 critical dimensions of learning environment. That includes pedagogical, technological, interface design, evaluation, management, resource support, ethical consideration, and institutional issues. Now, more than ever before, we need our leadership to lay the groundwork for reinventing our education in a blended learning environment. Well, I also been asked the question, I know that you have developed a new normal learning framework. Give us an overview of your framework and how it addressed this implication. Well, the new normal learning framework is developed to guide the design of flexible, effective, and meaningful online blended learning environment. So, in the new normal framework, the inner octagon represents the characteristics of the new normal learning environment, while the outer octagon represents the guiding elements to help design of the learning environments. For example, in the new normal, learners would require learning environments with characteristics such as interactive, engaging, device-independent, usable, accessible, single objective focused, short duration, retention boosting, just-in-time, independent but part of the whole, and cost-effective. The new normal learning framework provides proper guidance to design such environments. The following graphic that was shown on the screen with octagonal dimension of guidance of the new normal education. Let me explain each characteristic of the new normal. First of all, the new normal learning environment should be designed with such characteristics in mind so that learning materials can be distributed and flexible. Interactive engaging, meaning that interactivity keeps learner engaging and learner getting good feedback, appropriate feedback. Device independent. In the digital world, learning materials and should be designed to work across multiple devices and platforms. For example, smartphones, tablets, laptops, to take advantage of the tools available to the learners. Usable, accessible. Learning materials should be designed in the most efficient way so that all learners, including individuals with disability, can easily access and use them. Navigation should be intuitive and consistent throughout. Single objective. Learning experience should be broken up into the focused single objective lesson with measurable outcomes to boost the knowledge transfer and retention and keep learner focused. Short duration. In the digital world, learner attention spans are becoming shorter. Therefore, micro-learning therefore you see the micro-learning book here. See, the micro-learning or learning with snippets in short duration are more attractive to learners. Retention and boosting just in time. Delivering content meaningfully in bite-sized chunks, reduce information overload, improve attention span, increase motivation and engagement. Learners can gain important knowledge quickly at the moment of need, thereby boost knowledge intention. Independent and part of the whole. Standalone bite-sized learning snippets can be developed to be consumed independently, but systemically. They are part of the whole. That is part of a larger instructional unit. Therefore, when developing independent learning objects, consistent navigation resources should be considered. Cost effective. During this period of rapid digital transformation, various new and emerging learning environments are becoming available to make it easier to create cost-effective, meaningful, flexible, distributed learning environment. Now, let me discuss the 8 categories of guidings for the new normal. You see, in the model, you have this outer circle, outer octagon. So it has a pedagogical dimension that addresses issues pertaining to teaching and learning, in particular how instructional content is designed, delivered and implemented, with an emphasis on the identification of learners' needs and how the learning objectives will be achieved. The pedagogical dimension addresses issues related to practices involving learning design, development, implementation, evaluation. Technological dimension is concerned with learning environment, its creation and the tools required to create and deliver the learning. This dimension also addresses hardware and software requirements as well as the infrastructure planning, including the selection of the most suitable delivery system for achieving institutional learning goals. Technical requirements such as server capacity, bandwidth, security backups, other infrastructure issues are also addressed. The interface design dimension is concerned with factors related to the overall look and feel to the learning environment. With regards to learning, the interface design dimension addresses issues related to user interface design, ease of use, usability, navigation, adaptiveness of learning environments for mobile learning. Evaluation dimension addresses the assessment of learners, evaluation of instruction and learning environments, assessment of content, development process of the persons involved in process. For example, planning, design, production, evaluation teams. Review of instructional design process, that is planning, design, development, and evaluation of learning at the program and institutional levels. The management dimension deals with issues to the management of the learning environment, such as continuation, uploading, updating, upkeep of the learning environments. The management dimension can address issues related to quality control, budgeting, staffing, security, scheduling of the learning programs. The resource support dimension considers all of the technical and human resources support systems required to create and support meaningful online learning environments. Examples include web-based and telephone technical support, as well as all the digital libraries, online tutorials, podcasts, glossaries, frequently asked questions, facts, etc. The ethical dimension identifies the ethical issues that need to be addressed in design, development, implementation of e-learning resources. Issues pertaining to the social and political influence, diversify, learner diversity, geographical diversity, bias, digital divide, information accessibility, etiquette, and other issues, legal issues, privacy, plagiarism, copyright, these are also discussed. Well, one question you may ask, how are institutions making use of the new learning framework? Do institutions need to address all parts of framework? The institution dimension addresses issues pertaining to administrative, academic, and learner support services. This dimension focuses on how organization can disseminate knowledge and learning resources to the workers that is timeline and cost effective. So thank you so much, and we will talk about further with new normal learning framework. Thanks.